Wow. Thank you, Queen. I am so happy. I'm so like personally happy that we are featuring new artists that are in the community, and so like big shout out those selections that you had, Queen, again were awesome.
Thank you.
So talking about people who are on point in the community, the next guest, I'm so happy to introduce her because she has a 24-hour daycare. When M&M Daycare with the founder Milagros Carvajal.
Yes.
But we're just gonna call her Millie.
Yeah, Millie.
I was, when I first heard, we were taking classes together. When I first heard that her business was a 24-hour daycare, like my mind went through like, oh my God, I got so much business for you, and it was like we're trying to figure out how do you do that, like how is it that you have a daycare, and where are you located, and how you like what are people are demanding of you, like what are the services that you provide, because this is a very unique and much necessary model. So welcome to the show, Milagros.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Millie.
So that's the famous question.
Yes.
How do I do it?
Yes.
Everyone asks me, and it's not alone. I have a wonderful team in place. My ladies are awesome. Very caring, very nurturing, very professional. So it's certainly not me doing it alone. It's definitely a community effort. We do offer 24-hour service, and we're located by Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and we've been open for 8 years now.
Wow.
So we have a huge demand, right? We have one place, it's an at-home daycare, which is my specialty because I kind of feel like it's so important for the children to be raised in such an environment. With tons of love and care and just safety, which is really important for them to grow cognitively. So everyone always asks me, oh, how come you don't go to an outside facility? I kind of just who I am and my morals and values are based at home, love, growth, exploration. So that's why we've been home. We've been in an at-home daycare for so long.
So what do you mean exactly? What is the difference between an at-home daycare versus a traditional daycare?
So an outside facility, it's just what it is, an outside facility.
So you go to the people's homes and you...
An at-home daycare, it's in my actual home.
Oh.
Right. So it's in my actual home. So we have constant, it's a high demand. A lot of people do work 9 to 5, but a lot more work untraditional hours.
Absolutely.
So I used to work in a hotel. So I worked the evening shift. I used to get off at 1, 2 in the morning, and I used to leave my child with the next door neighbor, and she was awesome, but it wasn't an environment that I felt like children need, even during off hours or on hours, traditional hours, non-traditional, they still need to be in a fun, safe, loving environment. So when I did start the daycare, I was very adamant about having non-traditional hours. So, and it's a demand. We've been busy for the past, I want to say, 5 years. First 3 years were tough.
What is the age range of the
So we
children?
actually have 2 at-home daycares. The first one is called M&M Prep, and that's for the babies. So we're kind of like prepping them to graduate into M&M Daycare. So the first one for infants, we start at 9 months until 3 years old, and then from 3 they go into M&M Daycare, and that's 3 and up.
So they graduate.
Yeah, kind of like a little graduation. So we're also in the process of applying for U pre-K, so we'll be able to accommodate our 4-year-olds as well. Yeah.
So Millie, I heard you mention I used to work in a hotel.
Yes.
But also, I don't know if I got a sense that you did you ever have an education background? Obviously, kids are graduating, they're learning a lot.
Right.
I'm sure it's important for have the right background of people even educating, because you spend so much time with the kids. Maybe you can speak to either your background or why it's so important to have people that can teach these kids, not just watch them.
Right.
You might think daycare, make sure they're not eating anything wrong.
Right.
But it sounds like you guys have right? I mean, that's real important, right?
Right.
Outside somebody just
Completely
watching your
agree.
kids, right? This is a real day, and we're caring for your kids.
Right, exactly. So back in the days, we probably think of our grandma turning on the TV, having the children sit there, make sure they eat really good rice and beans and chicken.
Right.
So now it's a little bit different. When I first started, to be honest, my background is in communications, so that's why I was in a hotel. But the experience that that I gained in a hotel, the professionalism, the operations of a business, it really helped me grow my business. Awesome. And I did take the CDA, which is a child development associate. So I took the NAFCC credentials. So I do have trainings. And then my girls, they're taking the CDA as well. Right. One of my other girls has a BA in early childhood education. Nice. And then when we do have U pre-K, we'll have a New York State licensed teacher in place.
Absolutely.
So it's really important to us to educate them, but not only academically, also social and emotionally, which is huge for us because I like to create traditions. My children are like, okay, what are we doing for this summer, Miss Millie? Because they know we have consistency, we have traditions in place, and I think that's why we've been successful.
So if you guys are in the Bronx and listening in, now you understand the difference between what Millie has going on at her facility and other places that you might think of taking your children to. So kudos to you on that.
Thank you very much.
How many kids can you actually take in?
So during one shift, we can have 12 plus 4 after school. Okay. So in the morning, we have one shift, and then in the evening, it kind of turns into another shift for us. So we're able to employ 6 ladies who live in the Bronx, who live locally, and they work full time.
Wow.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for 8 years, right?
8 years. Yes.
Have you noticed that in the 8 years, each year the children dietary or special needs gets more intense every year?
It becomes very intense, but it's super important to us that we evolve with those times as well. That's why we're having a nutritionist come in, Rebecca Scott, owner of Sustainable Snacks.
Previous guest.
Right. That's for you, Rebecca.
How about the Hennessy cupcake chick? She gonna be there?
Probably not. That's for the Mother's Day party we're having.
But Joanne is part of the same class.
Right.
Big shout out to Joanne Poe.
We love you, Joanne. But also for Mother's Day, we're actually going to conduct a nutrition workshop with Rebecca to teach the parents like what kind of snacks and meals they can serve their children and what we do in the daycare as well. Because we're really adamant about not using any MSG, not using anything. We don't serve them any pork, any beef. Everything is like turkey based. So we really try our best, though it's a bit hard because children are a bit picky. So we really try and just open their palate and make sure it's healthy and fun.
Which one of your staff members has like is the medical officer?
Oh.
You always got to have one that got that needle thing, and
the pins, the splinters. Oh my God!
Right, I think that's me. I definitely think I'm the one.
Wow, what an undertaking! So I'm assuming there's a lot of also liability issues, right? And dealing with parents. How do you handle that, right? Because obviously kids are the prized possession of a parent, right? So I'm sure there's a lot of concerns in terms of, what you're culpable for, things of that nature.
Right.
So how does that
So our daycare is fully insured with disability, workers' comp, general liability, unemployment insurance. We have everything intact because like you said, children are rambunctious. They like to have fun. They like to explore. And unfortunately, sometimes with that might come accidents. So we definitely like to make sure we're fully covered. But thankfully, in the past 8 years, we have not had any accidents.
I think that's awesome.
So for 8 years, your children have, you've seen them grow, and you've seen, I'm sure, some success stories after they've left. Can you share with any stories that you can say that you're proud of with some of the children that's been in M&M?
Our children actually, when they go to school during spring breaks, winter breaks, they come back to us. So they continue their lives with us. And many parents are like, well, they're going to stay here until they're 18. And I'm like, wow, that's wonderful. But it's not a story in general. It's just the fact that parents continue to come back. It's what shows our success, what shows our commitment to the children and how safe they feel in our care.
Can you talk about how it is at night for the 24-hour period, right?
Right.
So what happens with
in the
those?
evening,
how do you work with those children that have to sleep?
So they have a routine in the evening. They do their book time, they brush their teeth, they put on their pajamas, and then we do lay them down. They have their special blankie, and one of us, we sleep with them, one of my assistants or myself, and we sleep in the room with them. So the overnight is not as active as the late evening or the morning. The morning is very busy, and then the evening, I want to say we have at least 5 to 6 students at this time. But parents, they're working until midnight, until 1 in the morning, so they are resting at that time. But it's just like on a mat with a nice blanket that they bring from home that they feel most comfortable with. And we really try to make it just a very friendly and safe and clean environment for them. So, but they mostly sleep in the evening. It's a lot of sleeping.
Well,
I'm a
that's good.
sleeper.
It's a good thing. Why do you think it's critical to have a home environment? I know you said there was a difference,
Right.
but why is that important to you?
It's important to me because I feel that's where love comes from. I know it sounds so cliche, but we need it. We need all those hugs and all those loves. In a big facility, I'm sure they're able to give affection, but not as much as we are. You know, I have a lot of freedom in regards to how I run my daycare. So I feel that's why home is super important.
And you know,
That's
in
the
reality,
foundation.
these are your friends. These are your kids for life.
Right.
When you do what you're doing for a living, you got to go to plays. You
Right.
got to go to their graduation,
Yes.
high
Right.
school. You
Right.
might be at someone's wedding.
I've been to students who attended my daycare. They're like, Miss Millie, can you come to my graduation?
Yeah.
I'm like, definitely, I'll be there. Oh, plays, we've been to their plays. So it's important. It's important to me. And I have my own children. My daughter's 16 and my son is 9. So parents also see how I raise them, and that kind of spills over into my daycare children. Like they really do become our own. So
You see this being a family business. Do you find that your kids are like, mopping and cleaning
right.
up before they...
I don't know about my daughter. She's 16 right now. She was with it for a minute. Now she's like, yeah, I'm a teenager. I don't know. But my son is awesome. My son is 9, and he's just like all for it. He's like, can you leave me the business? And I'm like,
Wow.
oh yeah. He's the smart one.
Well, you sound like
Madison is smart too, but but I
hope
do.
I hope
I
she's
really
not
hope.
watching
I know. I love you, Madison.
And we can't edit it.
Oh no. Bleep it out. But I do. I hope my children do grow my business. I really do. I hope they take it to the next level.
So that being said, the next level, right? Because you're in a house, a home,
Right, a home.
and certainly there's a certain amount of children you're allowed to have.
Right.
So what's the next step, right? Outside of having, like you said, you might now move to an outside facility. Is
Right.
it the goal to buy another house
My
and then
go-
expand?
I'm sorry to interrupt
No, no,
you.
you got
Well, we are working on the 3rd daycare.
Okay.
So that will hopefully be open within the next 2 months.
Good for you.
Thank you. And then I want to franchise.
Very good.
I want to franchise. I'm hoping to do what I've done for other mothers.
Yes.
I was able to stay home with my children during the years that they really needed me. I was able to earn money, and then I was able to create a safe and fun environment for the children in my community. So I really hope to do that for other mothers or dads.
I commend you because what you do, people don't realize how important and how hard it is. My wife and I actually did it for my wife ran a company called K-Prep.
Oh,
and
nice.
It was the whole thing. And to me, the only time it was a challenge was when the dad would come to pick up the kid and didn't tell the mom. That was
I've had that,
always like on
unfortunately.
and popping.
The drama.
Right.
Who's on the list? Is he on the list?
Right.
Is he on the list? Who can and cannot pick him
Oh
up?
man, I'd be in a window like this. Oh, it's about to pop off.
Right.
It's about
He got the girl in the car with him. Oh, no, he ain't. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Fortunately, our
privacy
parents are
issues are
pretty
so
good.
important in this
Right.
job, isn't
Right.
it?
Right.
Discretion is so big here.
Yeah, opening up a child care center is actually one of the hardest businesses
It
to
is.
open
It has
up in
to
New York
be.
State. I
It
mean,
It's scary.
it's a multi-month process of waiting. You have to take all these tests. I mean, because I have a few friends that are trying to open up their daycare, and I'm
Right.
trying to support them in the process.
Right.
So when you did it as a 24, I was like, what the hell did you do?
I know it's very constant, and
I know,
it
it
takes a
is.
special frame of mind.
Yes.
Every single day, I get up at 5:30. Our last
Um,
client leaves like at 1 in the morning, so it's very constant. But
Labor
it just
of
means
love.
so much,
Yeah.
right? It
Good
just
for you.
means so much knowing that we cater to over 40 families in our community.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
out of the 40 families, are you dealing with any young people that may have special needs?
We deal with children with autism, and so sometimes the therapist might come and work with them. And we're really open to that. We're really flexible with the parents. We understand working, and they just need support.
So
It
your
definitely-
staff has been trained specifically to deal with...
No, additional therapists from other agencies come in and work. Right.
What shows? Tell us about the goodies you're giving us.
Well, in the bag. So we have some measuring sticks, of course, for nutrition.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
then-
I'm a baker. Oh, wait, Queen, you really going to love this.
Oh yeah.
We have some pens
Yeah.
Cute.
and some bottle openers for the parents.
Oh,
Who needs to open some bottles?
that's for you. That's for Jasmine or Henny.
That's bad, I know.
Wow. Really?
Bottle opener.
It went right
And then,
to
of
me.
course,
but I
we
do need an
take
extra one. Thank
tons of notes, tons of
Of course.
observation notes. Yeah, so who doesn't like it? And then these
Ray
are super
is acting
cute.
up.
So we love
Post-its.
these. Yeah, so
I love those.
so enjoy.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
A lot of swag here.
I know.
Getting it in. 24-hour daycare.
Right.
Do you find yourself, obviously, watching the kids, helping the parents become better parents, right? Because sometimes somebody else watching your kid's one way at home, but somebody else watching, they kind of bug out sometimes.
Right.
So what impact do you guys have on some of the parents?
We've had parents graduate from school. I have one parent who works full time and who's in school for nursing now.
Nice.
So she works overnight, evening, morning. So we're definitely super flexible with them.
Awesome.
And again, that comes from understanding it takes a village to raise a child. It's never going to just be one parent, or even for myself, my assistants, they help me raise my own children.
Right.
So it's just a huge blessing to be able to help our parents.
It seems as though that a nurturing environment that you provide off-site, when they're home, I'm very sure the parents can actually use you as like, if you act up, I'm not going to take you to daycare.
Right. And they have such a great somebody told me a story. They were walking behind a parent and her child, and the parent was like, oh, we're going to go to M&M tomorrow. And the child was like, yay, I love M&M. And I'm like, oh, I love hearing those stories. And on our Facebook page, too, the family leaves tons of reviews of how happy they are with us. We just, again, really try our best to be professional with them, give our love, tons of love to the children, and just academically make sure they're ready for kindergarten.
So in your experience of doing this for 8 years, do you find yourself active in like any type of advocacy or policy issues or any important issues that if you could say right now, save this daycare because of blah, blah, blah? Is there anything that's important to you?
What's important to me, the U pre-K. So U pre-K coming in, it's U pre-K for all is for 4-year-olds, and then they're bringing in U pre-K for 3-year-olds. Because I'm a huge advocate of at-home environments, it's kind of contradictory to
So
it.
for our listening audience, U pre-K is universal pre-K, allowing
Right, exactly.
that age range to go to school for free.
Right, exactly. So free is always good,
Always.
of course.
But quality is more
But quality,
important.
right. So that's always my concern. But I'm sure, he's been doing a great job implementing these centers. So hopefully everything turns out well for our children.
And what do you have to do to go through that process of being awarded a pre-K?
It's a huge process. We've been working on it since last summer. It's a huge grant that had to be written. We're going through our training now, and we'll sign our contract in the summertime. So, yeah.
But is the process easily accessible for smaller contracts like yourself to get
Well,
in?
we still continue to have, so it's 12 plus 4. So we'll continue to have our 12 children. But to apply for it, the grant is just very tedious. It's very tedious because the DOE, we're being associated with them. So they just want to ensure like we know what we're doing. But it's a very hard process. But it's worth it because our children, our 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds will start in September with us. So, and that's what the parents want. They want to keep them with us.
So do you find that in your plan, and you have to write out for doing the daycare, I'm sure there's a security part to it. How do you assure that the children will be safe when you're communicating that with your parents? I'm only speaking as a parent.
No, I completely agree. And I always think the worst. And I know people are like, oh, you should always think, positive. But no, thinking the worst is actually what allows me to avoid situations. Sure. I always tell my assistants, think about the worst situation that can possibly happen and avoid it. So that's how we stay safe. The environment, we make sure that all the furniture is a certain height so the children won't climb over. We just buy good furniture. We don't spare any expense for our children. So it's definitely, we repaint every summer. We redo everything for the children. We buy new toys, new equipment. So that's definitely just checking your environment constantly, checking it, just ensuring, getting down on your knees at a child's eye level, and just ensuring that it's there. And then constant training as well, like what's changing in the environment, what's been recalled. So it's a continuous effort to keep the children safe. It's just not something that happens overnight. But creating this environment, it's great. It's definitely good for the parents, and it's good for the children.
Your company is a beautiful gem in the heart of the South Bronx.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we get to meet you and talk about your program. And do you have a proposed location for your next at-home daycare?
It'll be only 2 blocks away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it's still by
so
Yankee Stadium.
It'll still be by me, right?
So people in the Heights, you could just walk 156th
Well, we have
Street?
parents from Harlem. We have parents from other parts of the Bronx that come to us. So,
Okay.
yeah, we've had parents travel. And on the weekends, Saturdays, we're open as well. And if parents
you
need...
said that.
Right.
Whoa.
If parents need a
Saturday
date
night.
night.
Oh.
Right. Parents need a
What?
date night. Yeah. It's
Lot of
really-
traffic at 10 o'clock on the way to the club.
What's the limit to the age?
we
take
do 9 months.
16-year-olds? Okay.
Right,
All right.
16-year-olds. We can try 16-year-olds. We'll see how that works.
Hers is a
I
truck.
don't know if you want that.
Her
I
son-
guess the other, y'all funny, but I hope he's not listening.
Right.
To that.
He's not- I mean,
You're in
Oh, so
trouble.
you have a 16-year-old as well?
Right, they could probably meet up.
Right.
But actually, I hope you could stay. But my segment coming up is talking about how we balance work life and the
Yeah, by all
balancing
means.
act. How do you do it? How do you do it? You have a 24-hour business. How do you find time to squeeze in like life?
I have a huge support system. Just as I try to be the support system of my parents, I have my mom. Hi, Mom. Hopefully she's listening.
Of course she is.
My mom is awesome. My staff, again, they're very flexible, very understanding, the ups and downs of this situation. And I do yoga. I love doing yoga.
That does
Yeah,
it.
I love doing yoga.
That
I love
does it.
going to the track and field. And just my friends in general, just other human beings that are going through the same thing I'm going through.
What do you do to have fun?
she
I can't say
parties.
it. No, I'm joking.
No, I mean, according
Don't
to
say
you,
it for her.
no, I'm just gonna blow up her spot
Dad.
because I go to her Facebook page and I'm expecting to
Dad.
see a lot of pictures, and I see her in all these parties.
That's a shame.
Right?
Friends like her, right?
I know. She's being balanced. She's got to be balanced. After spend all day with those kids, I'm not mad at you.
I have a
Right?
bottle
Probably,
opener.
That's
Well,
what
here
it's
you might need
for.
another one over there, right?
That's what keeps you sane.
Right, but again, for fun, it's just hanging out with friends, just a lot of relaxing.
Yeah.
Well, it seems you've done an awesome job. I think that for all of us who are in some kind of business, it's so important to enroll your family and the people in
Yeah.
your vision.
Yes.
Right,
Thank
and
you.
you've seemed like with the support system, you've done an awesome job of enrolling them in your vision, and they're with you. So
Thank you.
That's big.
Yeah, thank you so much.
How can they find out how to reach you or how to get involved or to utilize your services?
So we're on Facebook, so M&M Daycare. We're also on Instagram, M&M Daycare. And my email address is mnmdaycarebx@gmail.com.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, and you can Google us. Like, people tell me I'm like the first one that comes up for 24-hour daycare. So you can definitely Google us.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to thank you for coming with us and sharing sharing all the stories about your business, and we really hope the best. And when you launch
Thank
your new space, hopefully you can come back and talk about how your new pre-K program is doing.
Oh, yeah, I'm
That'd
super
be great
excited.
to have you back. Yeah.
Thank you for having
So
me.
congratulations.
You guys are so on point.
So that being said, we're going to take another little musical interlude, and Queen Dream's going to take us away. Millie, hang out with us because you got some advice that you might be able to drop on us. So, Queen, do your thing.
Right now, let's take a picture.
Yeah.